In the high-stakes environment of air travel, flight attendants are often perceived merely as providers of comfort and service. However, their role encompasses a critical responsibility, ensuring the safety and security of every passenger on board. This narrative delves into a compelling incident that underscores the profound impact a vigilant flight attendant can have, transforming from a service provider to a lifesaver. In February 2011, Sheila Fedrick, a seasoned flight attendant with over a decade of experience, was assigned to an Alaska Airlines flight from Seattle to San Francisco. Known for her outgoing personality and keen observational skills, Sheila had encountered countless passengers, each with their unique stories. However, on this particular flight, her instincts alerted her to a situation that would not only change her life, but also save another. As passengers boarded, Sheila's attention was drawn to an unusual pair. A well-dressed older man, accompanied by a disheveled teenage girl, approximately 14 or 15 years old. The stark contrast in their appearances immediately raised red flags. The girl looked like she had been through pure hell, Sheila later recounted. Her hair was greasy and she appeared unkempt, a sharp juxtaposition to her companion's polished demeanor. Trusting her instincts, Sheila decided to investigate further. Attempting to engage the pair in conversation, Sheila noticed the man became defensive, answering all questions directed at the girl, who remained silent and avoided eye contact. Sensing the gravity of the situation, Sheila discreetly instructed the girl to visit the restroom, where she had left a note on the mirror asking if she needed help. The girl's response was a heart-wrenching confirmation, "I need help." Acting swiftly, Sheila informed the pilots, who alerted authorities in San Francisco. Upon landing, law enforcement apprehended the man and the girl was rescued from a dire situation. The rescued girl, now free from her captor, began a new chapter in her life. She later contacted Sheila to express her gratitude, sharing that she was enrolled in college and rebuilding her future. This incident not only highlighted the critical role flight attendants play in passenger safety, but also underscored the importance of training airline personnel to recognize and respond to signs of human trafficking. Sheila's courageous act brought significant attention to the pervasive issue of human trafficking within the aviation industry. Organizations like Airline Ambassadors International, AAI, have since emphasized the need for specialized training, equipping airline staff with the tools to identify and report suspicious activities. AAI has conducted numerous training sessions, linking thousands of air transport professionals with law enforcement agencies, thereby creating a formidable network against human trafficking. This incident serves as a powerful reminder of the difference that informed and attentive airline personnel can make in the fight against human trafficking. It underscores the necessity for comprehensive training programs and international cooperation to combat this global crisis effectively. Sheila Fedrick had been a flight attendant for over 10 years, and while she had seen all kinds of passengers during her career, something about this flight felt different. The moment she saw the disheveled young girl sitting by the window in aisle 10, next to a well-dressed older man, a sense of unease settled in her stomach. Her instincts were rarely wrong. She had spent years interacting with people from all walks of life, learning to read body language and subtle cues. The contrast between the two passengers was jarring. The girl looked fragile, exhausted, and unkempt, while the man beside her exuded confidence, control, and an unsettling air of authority. Sheila knew she had to tread carefully. If her suspicions were correct, she was dealing with something far more sinister than an unhappy travel companion. As the flight continued, Sheila observed their interactions closely. Each time she approached their row, the man would answer any questions directed at the girl, cutting her off before she could speak. The girl, in turn, remained silent, her gaze fixed downward. Sheila had been trained to spot signs of distress, but this was beyond what she had ever encountered. She thought about all the missing children she had seen on news reports and the harrowing stories of human trafficking that had become more prevalent in recent years. Could this be one of those cases? Was this girl in danger? Sheila knew she couldn't ignore what she was witnessing. She had to act. Without drawing attention, Sheila came up with a plan. She discreetly leaned toward the girl and whispered, "Go to the bathroom." Her tone was calm but firm. The girl hesitated, glancing nervously at the man beside her, but something in Sheila's voice must have reassured her. Moments later, she stood up and made her way to the restroom at the back of the plane. Inside the cramped lavatory, the girl found a note taped to the mirror. It was from Shelia. "Are you okay?" the note read. The girl grabbed the pen Shelia had left and scribbled back a chilling response. "I need help." When Shelia retrieved the note, a wave of adrenaline rushed through her. The girl had just confirmed her worst fears. There was no time to hesitate. Shelia had to alert the authorities, but she needed to do it in a way that wouldn't arouse the man's suspicion. If he caught on to what was happening, he might become violent or try to escape the moment they landed. She swiftly made her way to the front of the plane and picked up the phone that connected to the cockpit. In a low voice, she relayed what she had discovered to the pilots. "I think we have a human trafficking victim on board," she whispered. "A young girl. She wrote that she needs help." The pilots immediately contacted law enforcement in San Francisco, ensuring that police officers would be waiting at the gate as soon as they landed. Now, all Shelia had to do was keep the girl safe until they reached their destination. The flight felt like an eternity, but eventually, the captain announced their descent into San Francisco International Airport. Shelia's heart pounded in her chest as she stole glances at the girl, silently reassuring her that help was on the way. The man sitting beside her remained oblivious to what was happening. He was moments away from being caught, but he had no idea. As the plane taxied to the gate, Shelia's eyes flickered to the entrance of the terminal, where uniformed police officers were already assembling. When the doors finally opened and passengers began to disembark, the officers stepped inside, scanning the crowd. "Sir, we need you to come with us." The man looked confused at first, but as the realization dawned on him, his face twisted into something darker. He opened his mouth as if to protest, but before he could say a word, officers were already escorting him away. The girl remained frozen in her seat, as if she couldn't believe what was happening. "It's okay," Shelia said softly, crouching down beside her. "You're safe now." For the first time since the flight began, the girl looked up and Shelia saw tears in her eyes. The moment the girl stepped off the plane, she was taken into the protective custody of law enforcement and social services. Investigators later confirmed that she was, in fact, a victim of human trafficking and had been transported against her will. Shelia's quick thinking had saved her from a fate too horrifying to imagine. In the days that followed, news of Shelia's actions spread across the country. People hailed her as a hero, praising her for trusting her instincts and acting when so many others might have ignored the signs. But for Shelia, the experience was an eye-opener. "I realized that this probably wasn't the first time something like this had happened on one of my flights," she later admitted. "And it made me wonder how many victims had I unknowingly walked past before." She knew she had to do something. Shelia's experience sparked a movement within the airline industry. She became an advocate for human trafficking awareness, speaking out about the importance of training flight attendants and airline staff to recognize the warning signs. Airline Ambassadors International, a non-profit organization, took note of her story and began pushing for mandatory training programs across the aviation industry. Their goal was simple: to ensure that no flight attendant would ever have to rely on gut instinct alone. "We are the eyes in the sky," Shelia said in an interview. "We have a responsibility to protect our passengers, not just from turbulence, but from dangers that aren't always visible." Today, thanks in part to her efforts, thousands of flight attendants worldwide have received training on how to spot human trafficking victims. Weeks after the rescue, Shelia received an unexpected phone call. It was the girl she had saved. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said softly. "Because of you, I got out. I'm in college now. I'm building a new life." Tears welled in Shelia's eyes as she listened. This was why she had acted. This was why she had trusted her instincts. This was why it mattered. The girl had been given a second chance at life, and all because one flight attendant refused to look the other way. Shelia Fedrick's story is a powerful reminder of the impact one person can have. Her bravery didn't just save a life, it helped reshape an entire industry's approach to fighting human trafficking. Her message to the world remains clear: if you see something, say something. You never know whose life you might be saving.